I have a confession.
Yes, I want to hear.
Okay, so moments ago, actually, so Sybil, you already know this, but moments ago, I just found out that the person who is the closest to me, whom I live with and who I thought I knew, has never seen The Matrix. Like,
I know you know nothing. You literally know nothing.
I know nothing. My husband has never seen The Matrix. I don't know what to believe anymore. And I know there's so many movies of his, and he's like, I can't believe you haven't seen that. I'm like, I know, but like, just you think you know people sometimes, and you just really don't know them at all. Okay.
No, not even a little bit. Oh my gosh. And yours, do you have an age gap at all? Is there any age gap between you two?
No, we're like 6
Okay.
months.
Because this happens with Nils and me. But we have like a 3-year age gap, and it tends to be a gap that's like makes me, Generation X and him not. And so like I'm like, you don't know what the Smurfs are? Like what? Like
no,
like crap like that. No. And he grew up in Maine, which also doesn't help.
No, we grew up both in Southern California, both in Los Angeles, went to the same college. We had like parallel lives apart. And he's never seen The Matrix.
No excuses. All right. Well, if you're listening to this, dear, viewer, the Matrix 3, how this got started is the Matrix 4 Matrix 4 trailer is coming out.
Came out today.
Yeah, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's a fantastic trailer. Go view it. It's good.
I think we might have watched The Matrix on Laserdisc. Like multiple times. I'm pretty sure that happened in my house.
I watched it in college because I was in college.
Yeah, I was a child.
Yeah, I was in college. I'm an old lady. All right, guys. Speaking of old ladies, let's get this party started. Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
And hi, I'm Alex Ellis. I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses, running your own business, it's hard.
But we're terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it all out, but we promise to share everything we know about what it takes to make 6 figures and beyond.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
A bunch of it totally sucks. But let's get started.
I mean, there's so much truth to that line. And today's show will continue with that. So welcome back to Skinfessional. On today's show, we are talking about the 3 ways in which you, my friend, are sabotaging yourself. Why you already know that you're doing this. And what else, Sybil?
And how to feel good about moving forward and taking action.
Yeah, we're all about taking action. Today's show is going to be uncomfortable for you. You are going to feel personally victimized and personally attacked. And if you're already reaching for that pause button, you put your finger down right now and do not pause.
Yeah, you're the person who needs to be listening to this because honestly, we've all been there. In fact, when we were talking and prepping for the show, I told Alex that I've been working with some new business consultant people, and one of the things that I realized is that although I didn't feel this way in a business form, I felt this way in a personal form and somewhere else in my life. And then I was like, I had this mind-blowing experience because I was like, it's so hard not to self-sabotage yourself.
Yes. And I think that these 3 things too that we're going to talk about are, like you're saying, they're all things that we do in some form or another at one time or another. It's like, I've seen this meme a couple times this week of like, I finally did that task I've been putting off for years and years. It took me 3 minutes. I will learn nothing.
Yes, that was a fantastic post that you posted. And I laughed so hard. I'm like, yeah, I've been there. And because we dread it, we put all this, we put all this stuff attached to it that when we just do it, it's like anything else in fear. It just goes away because you've conquered it. You're done.
Yeah, definitely fear of the unknown, which I think really ties into the ways in which we sabotage ourselves.
The fear of the unknown, the fear of not being perfect, making the wrong choices, people judging us. Oh my gosh. Fear.
Yes. So we're going to name and be specific about these ways, because once we name them, then we can't be waffling about, well, I just didn't know what to do. No more excuses. Let's just dive right in because you need to know this. Again, don't hit that pause. The first way you're sabotaging yourself is that you still haven't set up your website. What are you doing? Why? Why
Oh my
not?
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's totally true. And I'm gonna say to anybody listening that we're gonna be talking about things here that if you want to learn more about, we have other episodes where we kind of talk about this stuff. So there's a really good, it's a very popular episode. It's our 3rd episode. It's on failure, self-sabotage, and loneliness. All the things that we kind of are alluding to right now. So you can hit that episode up if you'd like. But the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna create a website. And it's surprising, Alex, you just told me a story from a massage therapist. And how did that story go?
Yeah. So I have a friend who, was a massage therapist, is now transitioning into financial therapy, and is, on online business, right? She can work with clients from all over because of her, certifications. And she was saying, as a massage therapist, I didn't have to have I had a website and I had my phone number, but that was it. I never worried about clients. I had my referral network set up. I literally never, ever, 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 ever worried about clients. And now it's a whole new world of marketing copy and this and that and all that stuff. And I'm going to admit, I didn't realize this because, in the online space, I'm always thinking of bigger, more.
Also, you don't find clients in a referral type of way in general. People find you because you're actively seeking, hi, I'm Alex. This is what I do. Look at my website.
Literally, I'm that person with a spinning sign on every street corner in every neighborhood all day, every day with my social media presence. Yes. So I think a website also, today I need a carpet cleaner because God bless my animals. They are leaving bodily fluids on every surface in this house. Where do I go? I go to Yelp. And that's the bare minimum, but you need an online presence. And we're just going to tell you, go get your Shopify, go set up your Squarespace. If you're I'm not selling stuff, I don't need it. But you are selling stuff because people were buying product from you. So come on.
Yeah. I agree. I feel that any esthetician should have an online store because this is how people find you and buy stuff when they're not just sitting in your office. It's so convenient for them to be oh, I wanted this product. Awesome. I bought it. Done.
Yeah. The third option, so we'll just give you 3 so you don't have to say, well, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. Go check out square.com. Those are the people that, really revolutionized even credit card transactions because you could have that little square and take people's stuff while you're just standing right there. They make it super easy to take money from people standing in front of you to people online on a website. They let you build a website too. They let you do scheduling. They even let you do payroll. And invoicing, literally they do it all. And it's very, very, very affordable. And if you're oh, but it costs money every month. Literally just paid another $400 this week for just one of the many software tech and tools that I use. So boo hoo hoo. It's a cost of doing business. Go to square.com, set up your account right now, please.
And you can set up the most basic one first. It's okay. Most of them have plans where you start basic, you realize basic's not going to work for you, and then you move up. But don't freak out. Just do the thing and it's going to be okay. And then once it's done, you're oh, okay, I got this done. And especially with something like Square, you don't really need anybody to set it up for you. It's so simple. They're here's a template, click, copy, paste, put your information in. We made it for you. Yay.
Yeah. So I have a store on Square set up for my clients where it's just a, client specific store. It took 5 minutes. I needed some pictures of my product, which I already had, cut and paste my little description and got it up and running very, very, very easily. And they have really great customer service too if you need someone to hold your hand. Easy
I just had a huge conversation with an SEO specialist, and for pictures, I know that a lot of us are oh, they have to be perfect and they have to be on this white thing and they have to be floating. Actually, everybody wants more pictures of you just holding it, people actively doing something with your product. People want something that looks real and not just static. So take them outside, go to something where you're holding them, because all my new pictures I just take with my hand. I hold my hand up and I take a picture with my hand in it. That's it.
Or even, natural light on my coffee table from IKEA or my kitchen table. Just slide it towards the window a little bit more and then take pictures on that.
And then just use the same filter on all of them.
Exactly.
And you're set and ready to rumble.
Yes. So, I mean, literally,
So
you
zero
have no more
excuses.
excuse. No more excuses.
Zero excuses, guys. We're finished. You're going to go out and do it. I want to hear about when you do it because I'm excited that you're going to go out and be like, I totally did that. And it really didn't take me that long. And it was scary, but I overcame it.
Yeah. And then you're going to have a place for people to find you. So when they Google esthetician in Los Angeles, California, or esthetician near me, or whatever, I need someone who specializes in acne, you're going to come up. And it's
That's
not just
right.
going to be a booking software that has no context about who you are, what you do, or your picture, or anything like that.
You have to have a picture of yourself. Have a picture of yourself and just be like real about your picture. So, be personable about your picture. Be you.
Maximum skin filter 5. Okay. None of this like 45% shit, you guys, please. I want to see some pores. Okay. I know it's totally airbrushed if I see no wrinkles.
It's 100% true. But yeah, so we're essentially talking about, I have a esthetician friend who essentially, she lives in Los Angeles and I keep trying to send her clients and it's making it so difficult because she doesn't have a freaking website. And the first thing people say is, I want her website. And all it is like a little booking place. There's no image of her. There's no information about her. People are like, who is this lady? I mean, Sybil recommended her, but like, can I really trust this? Because I found Sybil on Yelp. Sybil sounds amazing. Her profile looks incredible. Her website looks insane. I want to see Sybil. This other lady, I don't know.
Which, I mean, make Yelp your main webpage. I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean,
but you
that.
could.
You could. You could absolutely do that.
You could. We wouldn't recommend it. They are the mafia. We have a whole episode about that as well.
All right, let's talk about self-sabotaging way number 2. And also, wait, I just want to scoot back to number 1. For you, it may not, I'm pretty sure it's going to be your website, but there may be something else that you are like saying, oh, it's got to be like perfect and it's got to be on these things before I do. Just do it. Okay. Just do it. Fill in the blank of.
I'm going to take that in and like keep it here because I have one right now and I'm keeping it to my heart, my friends.
Just do it. Okay.
Just do it. Just do the thing.
Self-sabotage way number 2 is that you are afraid to raise your prices, Alex.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So Alex, what is the first thing I always tell any business owner? I mean, I believe I talked to you about it when we first started hanging out. The first thing I tell people is to
raise your prices.
Yeah. Because you probably aren't charging enough.
You're not.
People are like, well, I just raised them like a month ago. I'm like, well, how much did you raise them? They're like, oh, like $10. I'm like, okay, well, what were they before? And then I'm like, oh, Jesus. Well, you're already so under the $10 is like, who cares?
I know. I mean, I raised mine $10 too. Okay. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
You do. But like, think realistically about how you want to raise your prices. If you need help with that, that is something I do for a living. You can call me up. You can drop me a DM. We can make an appointment to help you plan this out. But honestly, one of the easiest things to do is pick a date, pick the prices, and then you just do it.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, you've been telling me for freaking years to raise my prices, and finally I raised my prices. And what are we afraid of is like, oh, well, no one will buy anymore because the price is too high.
People will hate us.
People will still buy. If your website, it comes back to that, right? If your website communicates your value and what you do, and not just like, we've talked about this as well, like not the nitty gritty of like, I help extract clogged pores, but I help you put your best face forward, right? I help you feel confident in your skin without makeup. Right. The price, if that's what that person wants, the price doesn't really matter. Like I just realized I'm driving I'm going to say across town to the west side, which for those of you in Los Angeles, I'm driving from the Valley to Santa Monica. It might as well be Timbuktu. Okay. Takes an hour.
It might as well be another state. It might as well be another state.
And I am spending $255 a session because this person can help me get what I need.
Yeah.
And so that's the most important thing. Don't be worried about what Tom, Dick, and Harry are charging, or, my clients, they can't afford me if I charge more, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for you, and you are the one who is putting food on your table and taking care of your family. And running a business is not about, I mean, it is, but it's not about what your clients can afford. Like, get out of their wallets.
Get out of their wallets. The other thing I really like to talk about when I talk about raising prices is the fact that people will say, but my clients are ready. They're my friends and they'll hate me and I like them. I love them. I don't want to lose them. So there's a couple things. One, if they are your friends, I'm gonna put that in quotes. If they're your friends, then they're going to understand that you need to make a fair wage, period.
Mm-hmm.
Two, if you ever price somebody out, I have literally priced out my clients sometimes and I lose them and I'm very sad to lose them as clients. That doesn't mean I lost them as friends or people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
They are still around. They're still wonderful people that I love and I keep up with, and we chat. And when I'm in town, I say, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to meet you if we get an opportunity. So if you are kind of like mixing barriers, which happens sometimes in our industry, you still have to put your little hats on. And we have an episode about that. It's episode 1 about putting your hats on and know your brand.
I still totally remember recording that too.
Yes. You put your little hat on and you say, I'm in my CEO position, or I'm in my esthetician position right now, and this is not my friendship position. And so I treat people differently in that position. And I make choices based on that position. So CEO Sybil says, I have to raise my prices. This is what's important for my business. Whereas friend Sybil would be like, well, of course I want to do everything for free for people.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
But also I need to make money. So I'm so poor.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to think about that.
I feel like if they're truly your friend and they respect you, they will pay you for your genius.
That is absolutely correct.
Be a harder lesson in itself to learn. But
yeah. So if you're like, well, they bounced, I'm like, well, then they're not really your friends.
Mm-mm.
Once again, those are people you didn't need in your life anyways. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you like to be liked and you want to be loved by everyone. CEO hat goes on. CEOs don't care if they're loved at all. Look at Jeff Bezos. Do you think he cares at all what anybody thinks about that dude? Not even a little bit.
Bezos.
Zuckerberg, do you think he's walking around being like, oh, people on Facebook hate me right now?
No, we saw his surfing pictures. He doesn't give two shits.
Yeah, he's like white-faced. He's like, I don't even care.
Yeah. No, I think too with prices, like your stories with money really come up a lot with that. Like I was just talking with a friend who just took on a new job, and she used to be a teacher in a classroom and is now doing more admin stuff and feels guilty about making more money. She's like, well, I just know how much I was working before. And I'm not working that much anymore. She's like, whoa. Like, we get so, and I say this again from a place of love and compassion, and like I have been there and I am there, that we get so tied into the emotion of what this money means and what it stands for, and where we came from and who are we if we charge that much, and if I am financially comfortable, what does that mean, and if I'm not working super hard for every dollar, do I really deserve it? Like, it's so freaking deep. So I encourage you to, read books, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks about money and abundance and overcoming your own stories about it, because not raising your prices is probably saying more about your story with money, which is also probably sabotaging you more than probably anything else.
Absolutely. And we have episodes, like I said, on this, episode 6, and I just looked it up, episode 67. So caring too much about what others think, is it stopping you from making money, and how to set pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about all this. Go back in deep into the files. Go back deep into there.
More books. Actually, I have another book I haven't read yet, so I'll keep you guys posted about wealth and money, because it's just the emotion, and every like new level, new devil. It always comes up to at every single point,
right? And you can rewrite it in your brain, and it doesn't bother you as much. And then you'll hit another peak, and you'll be like, no, I think that might be too. And you're like, is that too expensive, or is that just me saying it's too expensive? That's just me, probably.
Yeah. The feelings of, and this is where I'm at right now, is like, okay, so I, am making more money, but it's all going to go away next month. And I realize, I'm like, oh, hello, fear, my friend. How are you?
It's true. It's true. It is often better. So Alex and I work together a lot. And the reason why is because we will bounce ideas. I'm like, Alex will help me write copy, because nobody writes copy better than not you. about your own things.
True. Yeah.
Right. And nobody prices things better for you and values you better than somebody who cares about you and likes your product, who's not you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True stories. True stories. So pick a date. Send us a message at Skinfessional. Tell us what your date is. You don't even need context. Just be like November 2nd. And we'll be like, you
and we'll be like,
go. You go.
That's right. I'll send you a DM on that date and be like, good luck on all of the pricing. I'm very excited for you.
Well, actually, you know what? That leads us into our next point about how you're self-sabotaging, because I got some things to say about that, which is not holding boundaries with clients. Okay. Because I intentionally, I was like, I didn't say that we're going to remind you, because like that's asking a lot.
I'm not reminding you. I'm congratulating you for doing it.
For doing it. Okay. Good.
I'm congratulating you for doing it.
Holding boundaries with your clients. I've talked about this before of, spending like an hour and a half helping a client figure out how to navigate something when she paid me $7 for a week-long event. That is not me practicing good boundaries. And if you're not practicing good boundaries with your clients, you're probably not practicing good boundaries in your personal life. Okay.
Yeah.
Just saying that. So what does holding boundaries look like? It's saying no to stuff that you don't want to do. It's holding the line on vaccine requirements that you may or may not want in your business and with your clientele. It's being super clear about what you offer and being unapologetic about what your value is, what your pricing is. And like the price is the price because I said it's the price. And asking for money when people keep pushing that, right? Stop giving free DM advice and like sell the thing. Oh, we should come in for a consult. I offer this extra thing, or let's get you in for this facial and I can take a look at it. Tell me some more ways too of like boundary violations.
Yeah. So when you just said that, I was like, oh my God, I totally remember. So probably one of my hardest boundaries to set in my own business was I used to have a system that allowed people to pay me later. And then like, I felt like I was literally chasing people's dollars for like months after they'd see me for a treatment. And I'd be like, hey, they're like, well, can I buy this product now and then pay you on like the 30th? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then the 30th roll, I'm like, hey, you got an invoice? Why didn't you pay it? They're like, oh, right. Can I don't really have the money right now. And I'm like, you didn't have the money before. I'm like, no, you have to pay. And they're like, can I just push it to blah, blah, blah. And next, I had like clients who I refused to see anymore, but I was chasing dollars around.
It's so exhausting.
And so when I made the decision, it was really hard and emotional for me to be like, I'm not doing this ever again. The first person was like, I can't really afford my moisturizer this month. Could I pay for it next month? And I was like, no, I'm really sorry. I can't do that. And if you listen to our last episode, we talk about things that you can blame stuff on. And I was like, I can't do that anymore. My system just doesn't allow it. I can't, it doesn't hold credit cards and I have no way to track this anymore. So I'm sorry, I can't.
Perfect.
And that was the boundary. It was such a hard boundary for me. And I felt so terrible. The first time I talked about it, I sat in my car and I had to pump myself up to do it because I knew I was going to do it that day. It was a really hard boundary. And yet I did it. And now I don't do that for anyone because forget it. No. Yeah.
The first one's definitely the hardest for sure. But it does get easier. Again, I'm not saying this from my high horse because like I clearly have issues with boundaries. I'm saying this because I know it's an issue that I have and I want us all to rise together.
Yes. And we have episode 12 and 78 also go very deep into tips on how to make boundaries, set boundaries with your people around you.
Yeah. And I think, a big boundary we were sort of talking about before we started recording as well is, we're in the time of vaccinations and figuring out what you want to do. And there's a lot of concern. Well, how do I, make my clients do this or make them do that? And really it comes down to, this is a very clear boundary for you, whatever that decision might be, and you have to uphold it. And it's really difficult and it's really scary because for the most part, we don't have any experience in holding boundaries because we're so used to like people telling us like what to do and what they expect of us and like how we're going to show up.
You're right. And and I think especially with, when it comes to health boundaries, as workers who care about other people and that we see our clients as our friends, we're like, well, I don't want to tell this person that they can't see me because of X, Y, and Z reason. And you have to be like, you just tell them that that's how it is. And if they respect you, once again, they're going to care about your boundaries, care about the choices you make, and be like, that's fine. And they'll make their own choice based on that.
Yeah, but also it's not, and this goes for any boundary. I'm not saying
Any boundary.
you need to do this because for me, yada, 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 yada,
No.
right? A boundary is never about what you need the other person to do. And if that's where your brain is, then that's not really a boundary. That's just you pretending like you can control other people. Okay. So a boundary is some line that you decide for yourself that this is what I need. This is what I require to continue to have a good time, to be my best self, to show up how I want to show up. And then you hold that line. You know, I used to think of it too of like, well, this is a line and like, I'm not going to cross it. And it was very strict and rigid. And then my therapist was like, no, it's like what you need to like thrive. And I was like, what?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I can actually have fun. And so if fun means I feel valued, I feel respected, I feel heard, I feel safe. And these are the things I need to say or do, or policies that need to be in place for that to happen. And you hold those, it will be so much more enjoyable for you, for all of your other clients, and you will get so much better at all your other boundaries as well.
And this is such a good point. I loved how, Alex, that you pointed out, you're like, this is not something that you're putting on someone else. It's not an onus onto someone else. This is about you. So usually when I say this, when I couch something about my own boundaries, I'm like, I'm doing this for like my safety, my client's safety, or I'm doing this because this is what makes me feel better and safe. This is how, like, family members are always trying to push your boundaries because you grew up with them, and they're just like, well, I'm different, right? I'm so different. And you're just like, you know what? No, my time is valuable, and you can't just call me at the random time and start talking to me. And if that's one of your boundaries, that's one of your boundaries. It's about you and what your needs are. And it's okay to tell people what your boundaries are. Just speak them out. It's okay.
And also, you don't owe anyone an explanation of why. It is what it is. That the policy is the policy, the price is the price. You owe nobody an explanation about why you're doing something the way you're doing it.
That is right. Listen, one of the things about mental health right now is that people feel like they have to give a reason why they're doing things. And you're just like, no, it's for my mental health. It's for a personal reason. It's whatever. And it always makes me very stressed when I see something like, I'm doing this for, and it's a personal reason. They're like, oh, what is it? You're like, no, you don't get to ask what it is. If I wanted to tell you, I would have told you, but I said it was personal. That stops the conversation.
Or not. I mean, I feel like even that of saying, well, it's a personal reason. It's like feeling like we have to give someone an explanation. I experience this with, like with healthcare providers too, where you give them too much information and then they're like trying to understand why you made the decision and like judging your decision. And you're just like, no, this is what it is. So like my physical therapist, for example, I went in, I said, hey, I can come one more session. So here's the things I think that I would like to focus on, because the rest of it I can do myself. Okay, fine. Boom. That's a discussion. And I was talking about this with my friend. She was just like, but they didn't try to like pressure you into more. And they didn't like say no. And they didn't like withhold things. It's like, no, because I didn't even give that as an option, And so I feel like holding boundaries too is just being clear and upfront. You don't need to explain why you're doing things to people. Just be, isn't it Brene Brown, does she say like clear is kind?
Clear is kind. Yes, absolutely. Right? Clear is kind. When you couch things that are like, people are like, I didn't understand that. What the hell were they saying? When you're like super clear about something, people are like, I know exactly where we stand. Yeah. And that's great.
Yeah. You're not doing anyone any favors by being really like secretive or overly explaining or like trying to protect their feelings instead of yours. Like you first.
That doesn't mean that you need to be rude.
No.
So you don't have to be like all, but it's just firm. It's firm and just who you are, that's who you are. And I know that often in our industry, we feel that we have to say things in the kindest way possible because we're like, oh, they're going to stop being our client. They're going to stop caring about me. Once again, okay, they probably won't. And if they do, they're not your client.
Yeah, they weren't your friends anyways. So
They weren't. Ugh. If we could only do this with all of our family members.
All of these things we say with like the deepest compassion and love. And we are saying these because we want you to kick ass and be awesome and amazing. And we know that you already are, and that you can be everything you ever wanted to be. So let's all collectively, and again, all three of these things I am currently doing too. Okay.
We're all working on we're all working on them. We are all works in progress.
Yes. So we love you. You got this.
Yes.
Stop sabotaging yourself. And for the love of God, please set up your website.
Yes. And, we would love to hear about it. Where do we want to hear about all the things that they're doing successfully?
Send us a DM on Instagram. The show is at Skinfessional. You can find Sybil at Skin Fitness Expert. You can find Moa at Mala for Mala, or you can call the Skinfessional box. And what is that number?
818-473-5277. And I do want to do a shout out to Jennifer right now, who was like, why don't you have an email address? And I was like, that's a really good question. I think people don't email. And so if you're like, you want an email address, let me know and I'll just set that up.
Oh yeah. I
have not had one. It's not something I even think about because people hate freaking email.
Oh my God. We need an email address. Okay. Next episode, we'll have an email address for you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Good question.
Yes. Keep asking the good questions because like literally no one else will ask your fantastic question. We need it.
Nope. There you go. So until next week,
keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.